Mill hated me from day one. When I finally got a better job and decided to sell our house, she picked up my son from school without permission and disappeared for hours. I, 32F, have been married to Sam, 34M, for almost 8 years now. We met when I was working as a receptionist at a gym where he used to work out whenever he was home. He works on oil rigs, which means he's gone for weeks at a time, sometimes longer depending on the contract. Right now it's mostly just me and our son Tommy, 6, at home by ourselves. The job pays well, but the schedule can be brutal. 3 weeks on, 1 week off is the standard rotation, though sometimes he extends for better pay. We've made it work though, or at least we did until everything went to shit. When COVID hit, the salon I changed jobs, where I'd been working for almost 4 years, shut down and never reopened. My boss just sent us all a text one day saying she couldn't afford to keep the place going, and that was it. Being suddenly jobless was really effing hard, especially with a young kid to take care of. We had some savings but not enough to feel secure long term. I started looking for work right away, but so was everyone else who got laid off. My mill Diana, 59, never liked me from the beginning. She thought Sam could do better than some hair washer. She never said it directly to my face until I lost my job. Then the gloves came off. She started showing up at our house making these little comments like, "When are you planning to contribute to this family?" Or "Tommy needs a mother who sets a good example by working hard." She'd say this shit with this fake concerned look on her face that made me want to scream. The thing that really pissed me off is how she acted like I was just sitting around doing nothing. I was applying for jobs every day, taking care of Tommy full time since his preschool closed, and keeping the house running while Sam was away. But in her eyes, if I wasn't bringing in a paycheck, I was worthless. Diana lives only 15 minutes from us and treats our house like it's her second home. We made the mistake of giving her a spare key for emergencies years ago when Tommy was a baby and I had a health scare. Now she uses it whenever she wants. She'll just walk in unannounced and start inspecting the place like she's the damn health department. I've started hiding in the bedroom when I see her car pull up because I can't handle another lecture about how I fold towels the wrong way or how my cooking isn't nutritious enough for Tommy. After months of searching, I finally found a remote customer service job for an online retailer. Not great pay, but at least it was something. The hours were flexible, which meant I could still take care of Tommy while working. I thought Diana would be pleased that I was working again, but she just found new things to criticize. She started telling family members that I was playing pretend at working and just lounging around all day in my pajamas. She even told Sam's cousins at a family barbecue that I married her son for his steady paycheck and that I was lazy. I overheard her saying this and just walked away because I didn't want to cause a scene, which I now regret. The worst part? When Sam's home, Diana acts completely different, bringing cookies, offering to babysit, and acting like we're best friends. The second he leaves for work, her true colors come out again. I've tried talking to Sam about it, but he just says that's just how mom is, or she means well, or some bullshit like that. He doesn't see what I deal with when he's not around. I've tried everything with Diana. I've tried being extra nice, I've tried ignoring her comments, I've tried confronting her directly, nothing works. The woman just has it in for me and I don't know why. Things reached a breaking point at Tommy's birthday party a couple weeks ago. We had a small dinosaur-themed party in our backyard with about a dozen kids and some family members. I spent days preparing everything, baking a volcano cake, setting up dinosaur games, and creating a fossil dig in our sandbox. Tommy was so excited and I wanted everything to be perfect for him. Sam couldn't get time off for the party. His supervisor is a real hard-ass about schedule changes, so I was handling everything myself. Diana showed up early, which should have been my first warning sign. She immediately started critiquing my decorations and suggesting improvements that would have taken hours to implement. I politely declined her help and asked her to just enjoy being a grandmother today. She seemed offended by that, but I was too busy greeting arriving guests to worry about her feelings. During the party, my friend Lisa pulled me aside looking uncomfortable. She told me she had overheard Diana telling another parent that I was using Sam as an ATM and that my work from home job was just a cover so she doesn't look completely useless. Diana was telling people I spent all day watching TV while claiming to work. She was saying this shit to people she'd never even met before. Lisa said she felt I needed to know since Diana was essentially telling these parents not to let their kids come over to our house because I was an irresponsible mother. I was devastated but didn't want to ruin Tommy's special day. I kept my composure through the party, but that night I cried for hours. How could she say such awful things about me to strangers at my son's birthday? What hurt even more was realizing this might be why Tommy wasn't getting many playdate invitations. Was Diana poisoning other parents against me? The thought made me sick to my stomach. When I tried to talk to Sam about it during our weekly video call, He said I was probably misunderstanding or that his mom was just old-fashioned about work-from-home jobs. He actually defended her. He suggested I was being too sensitive and that I should try to see things from his mom's perspective. I hung up on him and we didn't talk for 2 days after that. Sam's offshore for another month and I don't know how to handle Diana in the meantime. She's supposed to come for dinner tomorrow and I'm dreading it. I've thought about canceling, but that would just give her more ammunition to use against me. I've thought about talking to Sam's sister about it, but she and Diana are really close and I'm worried she'd just take her mom's side. I can't keep living like this, but I don't know what to do. I've tried so hard to make this work for Tommy's sake. He loves his grandmother and I don't want to come between them, but I'm at my breaking point with her constant criticism and undermining. Am I being too sensitive? Update: wow, wasn't expecting this to blow up. Thanks for all the responses and advice. I've tried to read through as many comments as possible. A lot of you were saying I need to stand up to Diana and that Sam needs to grow a spine and defend me to his mother. You're right on both counts. We've been to marriage counseling before, about 3 years ago when Sam's work schedule started causing problems. It helped with communication for a while, but we haven't been back since. No, Diana wasn't always this bad. She ramped up the criticism after I lost my job. And yes, Sam is a good dad when he's home. He just has a massive blind spot when it comes to his mother. After what happened at Tommy's birthday, I decided things needed to change. I couldn't keep living like this with Diana treating me like garbage while Sam does nothing. I had that dinner with her the day after posting, and it went about as well as expected. She spent the whole time making little digs about the house being messy, it wasn't, and asking if I'd heard back about any real jobs yet. I bit my tongue for Tommy's sake, but it took everything in me not to tell her to get out. For months I'd been feeling stuck in my customer service role with no chance for advancement. The company was one of those places where they dangled promotions in front of you but never actually gave them out. Diana's constant criticism about my fake job only made me more determined to find something better. I spent evenings after Tommy went to bed applying for positions that would use my skills and offer growth opportunities. Then something happened that I wasn't expecting at all. I was offered a position as an office manager at a tech company. I'd applied on a whim, thinking I didn't have a chance with my spotty work history, but apparently my customer service background and some administrative experience from the salon were exactly what they were looking for. The pay is way better, it comes with good benefits, and best of all, the company was located about 90 minutes from our current home. When I realized this would put considerable distance between us and Diana, it felt like a sign. Since Sam was away on a 3-month contract, he extended his usual time to make extra money. I knew I would need to handle this transition myself. The commute would be impossible from our current house. 3 hours of driving every day would mean barely seeing Tommy. So after thinking about it for a while, I decided to sell our house and move closer to my new workplace. I know some of you are thinking this was impulsive, but I'd been feeling trapped in this situation with Diana for years. The opportunity to start fresh somewhere else felt like a lifeline. Plus, the housing market in our area has been hot, so I figured we could make a decent profit on the sale. I accepted the job offer and began preparing for the move. I listed our house with a realtor but kept it quiet from Diana. I honestly didn't want her negative comments affecting my decision or somehow sabotaging the sale. When she visited, I made sure the realtor's sign was temporarily removed from the yard. This went smoothly for about a month. I had already found a rental closer to my new job and paid the deposit. I started packing up stuff we didn't use often when Tommy was at school. I told him we might be moving soon. Then one Saturday, Diana showed up unannounced as usual. This time, she caught me packing boxes in the living room. She immediately demanded to know what was happening. When I explained that I'd gotten a new job and was selling the house to move closer, she fucking lost it. She started screaming that I had no right to make such a huge decision while Sam was away. She insisted I needed Sam's permission to sell his house and accused me of trying to keep Tommy away from his family. I tried explaining that the house was actually in my name since we bought it when Sam's credit was bad from a previous divorce. I also told her this move would be better for all of us, a better job for me, better schools for Tommy, and a nicer neighborhood. But Diana wouldn't listen to anything I said. She said things like, "You've always been jealous of my relationship with Tommy and Sam will never forgive you for this." She even had the nerve to say, "I always knew you'd try to take my grandson away from me eventually." As if my entire life plan revolves around spiting her. She stormed out, slamming the door so hard a picture fell off the wall and broke. Within minutes, my phone was blowing up with angry texts from her, Sam's sister, and even a couple cousins I barely talked to. All of them accusing me of being selfish and destroying her son's family. Diana had obviously called everyone immediately to paint me as the villain. When I finally got to talk to Sam that night, I told him everything. I expected him to be supportive, but instead he seemed conflicted. He said while he understood my reasons for taking the job, he wished I had discussed selling the house with him before making a decision. He also suggested I should have told Diana earlier to keep the peace. I reminded him that we had talked about moving someday to be in a better school district before Tommy hits middle school. I just sped up the timeline when this job came along. I also pointed out that he's never around to deal with his mother's constant criticism and interference, so he doesn't get to dictate how I handle her. This left me questioning myself. Was I wrong to make this move without more family discussion? I told Sam I was going forward with this move with or without his support. It's the first time I've ever put my foot down like that with him. Usually I'm the one who compromises to keep everyone happy, but I'm done with that. This job is a good opportunity for me, and getting some distance from Diana feels necessary for my mental health at this point. Update 2. Well, shit has officially hit the fan with Diana. Things have gone from bad to worse, and I'm starting to worry about what she might do next. First, thank you all for the supportive comments. To those asking why I didn't just change the locks, I did, but only after what I'm about to tell you happened. And to those saying I should have communicated better with Sam, you're probably right, but in my defense, it's hard to have serious conversations about life changes when your partner is only available for brief calls with spotty reception. The realtor planned an open house last weekend, and I was feeling hopeful. The market in our area is pretty hot right now, and our home was priced competitively. Tommy was at a friend's house for the day, so I could focus on making everything perfect for potential buyers. I spent all morning cleaning and staging the house. I even bought fresh flowers and baked cookies to make the place smell nice. The realtor, Jen, arrived early to set up her materials and seemed pleased with how everything looked. Everything was going well for the first hour, several interested couples walking through, asking good questions, seeming genuinely interested in the property. Then Diana showed up with Sam's sister and father in tow. I hadn't invited them and was shocked to see them march through the front door like they owned the place. Diana immediately started telling buyers things like, "This house has terrible plumbing issues we've been fixing for years and the neighbors are extremely loud. You'll regret buying here." She pointed out tiny flaws in the paint and claimed there was hidden water damage in the basement. All complete fucking lies. When I tried to intervene, she told everyone I was abandoning my husband while he works offshore and uprooting my son from the only home he's ever known. She even claimed that Sam was completely against the move and would be fighting for custody when he returned. He's never even hinted at anything like that, and we've had our issues but nothing that extreme. She told one couple that Tommy was devastated about moving away from his school and friends, which isn't true at all. Tommy's actually excited about the idea of living closer to a big park and possibly getting a bigger room. Diana was just making shit up to scare people away. I was mortified. Some potential buyers looked uncomfortable and quickly made excuses to leave. My realtor was stunned and didn't know how to handle the situation. She tried to redirect conversations and counter Diana's claims, but the damage was already done. I finally managed to pull Diana and her family outside to the driveway, where I firmly told them to leave. Diana's face turned red as she shouted, "You're destroying this family. Sam will never forgive you for this." Her drama was so loud that neighbors came outside to see what was happening. It was humiliating. Sam's sister, who had been quiet until then, suddenly said, "Maybe you should wait until Sam gets back before making such a big change." This hurt because she had always been kind to me before, and now she was taking Diana's side. Sam's dad just stood there looking uncomfortable but didn't say anything to stop Diana's behavior. After they finally left, I had to explain to the realtor what happened. She suggested we end the open house early since the atmosphere had been completely ruined. I felt so defeated. Jen was understanding but said we might need to adjust our strategy going forward. She suggested we only do showings by appointment when Diana wouldn't know about them. That evening, I called Sam and told him what his family had done. I was crying and upset, expecting him to be outraged on my behalf. Instead, he seemed distant and said, "Well, Mom is just worried about Tommy growing up far from family." I couldn't believe he wasn't more upset about what they'd done. It feels like I'm fighting this battle completely alone. I pushed back, asking if he thought it was acceptable for his mother to sabotage our house sale and lie to potential buyers. He hemmed and hawed, saying that wasn't right but still making excuses about her being emotional about the situation. I don't give a fuck how emotional she is, that doesn't give her the right to interfere in our lives like this. I'm so angry at Sam right now. He's more worried about keeping the peace with his mom than supporting his wife. I changed our locks yesterday, no more surprise visits from Diana. I also told the realtor to only schedule showings when I'd be home to prevent a repeat performance from my in-laws. A few of you suggested I talk to a lawyer just to know my rights. I haven't done that yet, but I'm thinking about it now that Diana mentioned custody. I know Sam would never try to take Tommy from me, but I also never thought he'd let his mother walk all over me like this. The house is still on the market, but interest has definitely cooled after Diana's performance. One realtor who had clients interested in our house called Jen to ask if there were disclosure issues with the property that weren't in the listing. Diana's lies are actively hurting our chances of selling. Honestly, I'm starting to wonder if this marriage is even worth saving at this point. I love Sam, and we've built a life together, but his inability to stand up to his mother and support me is making me question everything. I'm not going to make any rash decisions though. The new job starts in 2 weeks, and I'm focusing on that for now. If nothing else, the salary increase will help me put money aside in case I need it later. Update 3, you guys, I can't believe what Diana did yesterday. I'm still shaking thinking about it. I thought the open house sabotage was bad, but this is on a whole different level. I started my new job last week and it's going well so far. The people seem nice and the work isn't as overwhelming as I feared it might be. I've been commuting for now, yes, it's a long drive, while we figure out the housing situation. The house still hasn't sold, but we've had a few interested parties. Yesterday I was wrapping up a video meeting with my new team when I got a call from Tommy's school. The secretary told me that Diana had picked up Tommy early, claiming there was a family emergency. The school had called to check if everything was okay since I hadn't notified them Tommy would be leaving early. I never gave Diana permission to take Tommy from school. I immediately tried calling her, but she didn't answer. I called Sam's sister, his father, even some extended family members. Nobody knew where Diana had taken Tommy. Or they were lying to cover for her, which is equally fucked up. I was in full panic mode. I told my boss I had a family emergency and left work immediately. I drove way too fast getting back to our town, my mind racing with horrible possibilities. Diana had been acting so unstable lately. I drove to Diana's house, but nobody was there. I checked the local parks, the mall, even Sam's father's house. No sign of them. After 2 terrifying hours, I was seriously considering calling the police. The only reason I hesitated was knowing how traumatic that could be for Tommy. I tried calling Sam but couldn't reach him. He was probably on shift with no access to his phone. I left him a frantic voicemail explaining what was happening. Then, just as I was pulling back into our driveway to get Diana's address for the police, I saw her car parked on the street. Diana casually walked through my front door with Tommy, who was happily eating ice cream. When I asked where they'd been, Diana smiled and said, "I took him shopping for new school clothes. I figured since you're moving him away from us, I should spend quality time with my grandson while I still can." Like this was a normal thing to do. Like taking a child from school without his mother's permission and disappearing for hours was perfectly acceptable. I didn't want to upset Tommy, so I calmly asked him to go to his room to try on his new clothes. Once he was out of earshot, I confronted Diana. "You never take my child from school without my permission. Do you understand how worried I was? I had no idea where he was for hours." Diana just rolled her eyes and said, "Don't be so dramatic. He's my grandson. I have rights too." She started going on about grandparents' rights and how I couldn't keep Tommy from her just because I was having a tantrum about our relationship. That's when I lost it. I told her she had absolutely no rights to take Tommy anywhere without my explicit permission. I informed her that I would be calling the school to remove her from the approved pickup list, and if she ever did anything like this again, I would call the police and report it as a kidnapping. She looked shocked, like she couldn't believe I would overreact this way. She started crying and saying I was being cruel, trying to keep Tommy away from his loving grandmother. When that didn't work, she switched to anger, saying Sam would never allow me to cut her off from Tommy. I stood firm and told her to leave my house immediately. For once, she didn't argue and left quickly. I think she realized she'd crossed a major line and was trying to retreat before I actually did call the police. When I finally got through to Sam later that night and told him what happened, he initially tried to downplay it. "I'm sure Mom just wanted to spend time with Tommy," he said. I lost it at that point, yelling that his mother had essentially kidnapped our son from school and disappeared for hours without telling me. After hearing how upset I was, Sam finally seemed to understand the seriousness of the situation. "That was completely inappropriate," he agreed. "Mom had no right to take Tommy without telling you." He promised to talk to his mother about boundaries when he returns home next month. While I'm glad Sam finally sees the problem, I'm still furious that it took something this extreme for him to take my side. I'm also worried about what Diana might do next. She clearly doesn't respect my authority as Tommy's mother or my boundaries as a person. I immediately called Tommy's school and removed Diana from the approved pickup list. I explained the situation, and they were very understanding and apologetic about releasing Tommy to her. Apparently, Diana had been listed as an emergency contact since Tommy started kindergarten, and the substitute secretary didn't notice that she wasn't on the regular pickup list. I've also contacted the realtor about speeding up the sale process. I just want to get out of here as soon as possible, even if it means accepting a lower offer. I don't feel safe with Diana living so close anymore. What if she tries something like this again? Some of you suggested family counseling with Sam when he returns. I think that's probably our only chance at saving this marriage at this point. I know Sam loves me and Tommy, but his inability to set boundaries with his mother has created a situation that's becoming dangerous. If he can't see that, I don't know how we move forward together. In the meantime, I'm documenting everything Diana does. A few commenters suggested keeping records in case things escalate further, and that seems like good advice. I've started a journal with dates, times, and descriptions of all her boundary violations. Tommy doesn't know about any of the drama, thankfully. I've been careful to keep arguments away from him, and he still loves his grandmother. I don't want to damage their relationship, but I also need to protect him, and myself, from Diana's increasingly erratic behavior. I'll update again when there are new developments. Thanks for all the support and advice. Final update, wasn't planning on updating again, but a lot has happened in the past 3 months, and I wanted to share how things have turned out. Some of you have been messaging me asking for updates, so here goes. First off, I want to address some comments from my last update. Yes, I probably should have called the police when Diana took Tommy from school. At the time, I was worried about traumatizing him or creating even more family drama, but in retrospect, it would have established a clear record of her behavior. We've moved. The house finally sold, for less than we hoped, but I just wanted it done. Tommy and I are now settled in an apartment about 15 minutes from my new job. The area has decent schools, parks nearby, and the neighbors seem okay. Tommy's already made friends with some kids in our building. The apartment is smaller than our house was, which has been an adjustment. We're on the second floor, which means no yard, but there's a community playground that partially makes up for it. Sam returned from his offshore job last month, and things were tense at first. He stayed in a hotel for a few days while we figured things out. I think the reality of coming home to find his house sold and his family relocated hit him harder than he expected. He was upset that I'd gone ahead with such major changes without him being physically present, even though he knew it was happening. After seeing how happy Tommy is in our new place, he's mostly come around to supporting our decision. We had a long talk about Diana and boundaries. I told him straight up that I was considering divorce if things didn't change, and I think that finally got through to him. He admitted that he's always known his mother can be difficult but didn't realize how bad things had gotten. He's even talking about finding work closer to home when his current contract ends, which would be a huge change for our family dynamic. As for Diana, we've established some firm boundaries. After the school incident, I insisted on family counseling with Sam and me. The therapist helped us develop clear rules about Diana's involvement in our lives. Sam finally understood how his mother's behavior was affecting me and our marriage. Diana is now only allowed to visit when Sam is home, and she must call before coming over, no more surprise visits. She's not on the approved list at Tommy's new school, and all family outings must be agreed upon by both Sam and me in advance. Sam was the one who communicated these boundaries to her, which I think made a difference. She couldn't dismiss it as just me being difficult when it came from her son. She wasn't happy about these changes at first. There were tears, accusations, and a few weeks where she didn't speak to any of us. She tried calling Sam constantly, leaving messages about how heartbroken she was and how cruel I was being. She even showed up at our apartment unannounced once, but we didn't let her in, and Sam firmly reminded her of the new boundaries. Eventually, she realized if she wanted to be part of Tommy's life, she needed to respect our boundaries. I think what finally got through to her was when Sam told her that her behavior was pushing him away too, not just me and Tommy. To those who suggested divorce right away, I get where you were coming from, but relationships are complicated. Sam fucked up by not standing up to his mother sooner, but he's making an effort now. I'm giving him a chance to prove this change is permanent. For now, though, things are better.